But this story is nuts. Apparently, it got confirmed. Someone sent me this on email. So, dude went to jail for 3 years. 3 years because he got in an argument with his Filipina girlfriend.
Nobody knows what goes on behind somebody's. He's being scorned, but people, he didn't have he never bought his own house with her. They were renting, and it was quite a big place because he had chickens and he tried to breed ducks.
Listen,
and that was
to
the kind of person that he was. And the eggs that the chickens produced, he used to give them away. He never sold them; he'd give them away to them. And he was buying his girlfriend this, and he was always updating his rental property. And he wasn't asking their landlord for money when he was doing the repairs. He was a nice man, and still is a nice man as far as I'm concerned. And especially now, they haven't found him guilty of the initial first charges, but found him guilty of for having an argument.
Wow.
Dear me, I better watch what I do now with my wife, because we argue. Of course we do. We have words. I think every normal, healthy relationship does have an argument because you have to vent things. You have to vent it. But here...
Imagine getting thrown in jail for arguing with your wife overseas.
You can be put in prison and you can be deported for it. My friend's now going to be deported. That's at the very best. That's at the best. Because the judge hasn't passed sentence yet. He's already spent 3 years in prison waiting this trial because he was being adjourned. And they were trying to mediate him paying the money, like I said. The two, I can't...
3 years, bro, because you wanted some peace leave overseas. 3 fucking years to go to a third world to get some discount peace leave so you can have your world turned upside down. And the fucking comments, bro. There's one guy's comment. I don't even know. Where was this fucking beta dude at? I couldn't believe what the fuck I read. I need to find this. This one says, a good friend of mine got a life sentence for BS charges. He's currently rotting in Davao prison. No hope for a foreigner arrested in the Philippines if accused by a Filipina. Where the hell was this dude? He had the simpy McSimp face. Guys they're out of their fucking minds. He said some real whack shit. I think it's on Filipina P's one. Dude, like some of the shit they write, they just have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Where was this guy? This old timer says, after this video, the Philippines is no longer on my bucket list. Calm the fuck down, bro. Jesus Christ. Where was this at? I have to find this. All right, let's let this man speak while I look for it.
It was 2 or 3 million pesos, but it was one of those figures that this ex-partner of his was wanting for her to drop the cases, to drop these charges that was brought against him. And of course, he didn't do that. Like I said, I didn't do it. Why am I paying? Now, either, some people might think you're stupid. I would have paid it. I think that same thing. I think, God Almighty, I'd have paid that. I would have paid that in a heartbeat. But I suppose his pride wouldn't let him do it because he was adamant that the charges that were made against him, they were false. They were false allegations and false statements that were being made and presented in court because she was a scorned lady. So that's it, guys. That's it. And the reason I know all of this is because his girlfriend, we speak on Facebook, and I haven't been going to see him lately. And I'll tell you for why, because he's only allowed 1 visit a week. So if I go, then
I don't remember the keywords.
And I think he would much rather see his girlfriend than me. But every time I message his girlfriend, and I used to pop round and see her with my wife just to see how he was, and she said, yeah, he's okay. And I said, really? And I said, he's half the size he was. And she said, yeah, that's because he's not eating properly and all that. So I said, he's truly okay? And she said, well, that's what he says. But he wasn't okay, and he's not okay. So now he will be deported. And that's it. Final. That's the best. This judge might, I don't know what the sentences is for having an argument, for cruelty towards women and children. The anti-violence is called anti-violence. It comes under that. And harassment. So she was the one who was harassing, not him. So guys,
I didn't find it.
If you find yourself into this, I hope and pray to God you never find yourself in this situation. But if your partner is volatile and you are kind of on the fence whether to stay with her or not, just think what she can do to you. And you don't even have to touch her. You don't have to touch her. You just simply have to raise your voice, maybe say a few swear words. I don't know. And this is what they can do. And this is what's happened. So people, Be
We're not
warned,
finding it, boys.
is what I'm going to say to you. Be warned about this. It's a shitty law indeed. And I would imagine that if this was a Filipino, two Filipinos, this would never have happened. And also, because this case has been adjourned and adjourned and adjourned, every time it gets adjourned, the attorneys get paid. My friend had to pay attorneys every time. So the court case was there. Let's just say the court case was tomorrow. There was a hearing tomorrow. Now, if that gets adjourned, my friend's still got to pay his attorney. And he had, I think, 3 or 4 different attorneys all the way through this because he thought one was crap, one was crap, one was crap. And then he finally found one that he thought was half reasonable. Will he appeal against it? I don't know if you can. I don't know how it works in the Philippines because it's not a trial by jury. It's simply a trial by one person, by a judge. Yes, they are trained. Of course they are. But I'm not going to go into what I think.
All right, let's get into her explaining this.
Filipino P here. And a lot of you sent me a video about a foreigner who spent 3 years in a Filipino jail. What was the offense?
Gooner search.
Arguing with his Filipino girlfriend. Now, when I heard about this, I assumed there was nothing to it. But I decided to send the video to attorney Dave Batula to get his reaction. And boy, was I ever surprised by what he said. So, can you actually go to jail for arguing with a Filipina?
Ding, ding. Yes, you
Having
fucking
a
can.
verbal argument, with no physical evidence. Because in the video, according to the friend, he wasn't found guilty of assault, but verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is like arguing. So does that mean my boyfriend yelled at me? It's like, you're verbally abusing me.
Of course, we need to qualify the
All right,
verbal
goon mode over.
arguments. Not all arguments are abuse. We can argue, we can hurt each other's feelings, but that's normal in relationships, right? And even friends, family members argue it every day, but that doesn't mean there is abuse there. Under the anti-violence against women, or what we call the VAUC law in the Philippines, verbal and emotional abuse is a crime. But it usually applies in the context of, domestic or intimate relationships.
How crazy this sounds.
With a partner. And there are, of course, qualifications as to when an argument or, words can fall under verbal abuse.
What does it take for an argument to become verbal violence? What if my boyfriend called me fat? You're annoying. Is that verbal abuse? Like, my feelings are hurt. How could you? I'm going to go to the police and file a blotter.
The answer would be yes and no. Partially,
Good luck.
You're surprised, right? But we qualify. I like to qualify that one. Like repeated. That needs to be repeated. Repeated in.
Oh, great. So if you call her fat 3 times, that's your ass, bro. You're going to jail. Filipino jail.
Insults, belittling, humiliation. There has to be an intent of your boyfriend belittling you, or the boyfriend telling you that you're fat, you're ugly, etc. There's maybe an argument. It's verbal abuse if there's a threatening harm, constant criticism that causes emotional suffering. A single argument may not usually qualify for a verbal abuse, unless, of course, the argument is part of a pattern or involves serious threats of harm. And that woman should be a person with whom you have sexual relationships with, and not just any other person.
Okay, so if a foreigner...
Wow, so you stick your pipe in that, and now you're at risk.
...is arguing...
So you could just argue with a random on the street, call them fat, you're good. But you call your significant other or whatever, your girlfriend, whoever you're piping up fat, that's your ass, bro. Congratulations. You went overseas for your sweet little Filipina, 4'2", and then you got piped in jail in Davao. Ha! Wow. This is like the boys that get ravined in Colombia, but worse. Chase. That dude got ravined by a chick he just met. You are getting piped up by Filipino dudes in prison. Unbelievable.
A woman who is a vendor because she overcharged him.
Arrested based on a valid complaint. And if there's a probable cause, there has to be evidence. Before you get arrested, there should be preliminary investigations. That's done by the prosecutor before a case is filed against you. Brings reasonable certainty of conviction and have the person arrested.
Can he not get out on bail? Why would he be held for that long without a trial?
Some
Good
crimes are
question.
bailable. Once you file or pay the bail, you can get out. And however, there are cases that are non-bailable when, the evidence of guilt is so strong that the court will deny bail.
Wow. Somebody said, check this out, chat. The criminal complaint may be filed within 20 years from the occurrence or commission. Oh my God. Are you shitting me? No way. Filipina, do these jeans make me look fat? Man, I would like to speak to my attorney first. Oh, wow. I can't believe I can't find the mixed simp, bro. That bothers me. I need to screenshot this shit. Yeah, if you thought getting falsely accused in the U.S. was wild, wait until you do 3 years in prison because you call her fat. Unreal. The only thing keeping alive some of those old gooners out there with their 4-foot queens is the fact that they're also the paycheck. So once, they they get to die there in peace because that pension money keeps coming. But if they die, the pension money disappears, and so does the meal ticket. So they don't get gooned out like this. But oh shit, it was a dead man's paycheck. Oh my God. Don't trust the Filipino justice system at all. Unreal. Yeah, that's a fucking no-go for me. That's crazy. No thanks. There's always something, boys. I told you. Trade-offs. They exist. They really do. Everywhere in the world has trade-offs. If it seems like paradise, if it seems like perfection, there's something lurking in the water waiting for your ass. No fucking thank you. Unbelievable.